sometimes it's difficult to be a stand-up comedian
Yeah.
because people expect you to be on all the time and funny all the time.
Yes.
But I know many comedians who are super reserved. Like
No, they're not.
Comika in
Yeah.
his life is reserved, as it should be.
Yeah.
Lutfi, which is the CEO of Comika.
Yeah.
I want you to do some trash talk. What you said is also why comedians are all jealous of musicians.
Are they?
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to this new episode of Bule Go Vlog. And I know I always say that we have a special guest, but now we really have a special guest. He is the quintessential entrepreneur. He's in comedy, he's in music, he has restaurants. He is a person I really look up to. Patrick, thank you very much for being here.
Thank you, Chris.
You are a celebrity in your own right, but you also work a lot behind the scenes.
Yeah, I'm a behind the scenes guy. Yeah.
Yeah, you're the puppet master in a good way. In a good way. So of course you are the big boss of MLE.
Not the big boss. I'm the co-founder actually.
One of the big bosses.
No, I run the company now.
Yeah.
The company, yeah, as the CEO. I run as the CEO. Before it was Joshua Suherman.
Yep.
And then 2018 we formed the company. 2019 we got a big break. So our company was acquired by one of the biggest group in Indonesia.
And for the very few people in Indonesia that don't know MLE, can you explain what MLE does?
Yeah, well, MLE Majelis Lucu Indonesia is actually a collective of comedians. We do IP developments. So we create IPs based on the talents, and then we try to make a community building out of it.
Yes.
So we try to scale up our fans, you can call it, and then from there, we just growing in sales, doing the entertainment business stuff.
And of course, some of the biggest stars you have is Adriano, you have Choki, you have Oza.
Yeah, well, Adriano Colby, Choki Pardede, Tretan Muslim, Joshua, and me, we are the founders. So we're the shareholders. So basically, it was Muslim and Joshua at first, and then Choki. And then I invest on them for my production company, production house. And then I asked Adri to join us.
Nice.
Yeah, because we share the same background, me and Adri. Adri is from advertising agency.
Yeah, and how many people, how many talents you have right now?
21, now 21. Yeah, 21, including Oza, Rangkuti, Sastra Silalahi, Dono Pradana.
Yeah.
We have also different entities, not just Majelis Lucu Indonesia, not just MLE. We have Comedy Sunday in Surabaya, Dono Pradana and Firsa Falaza, and then we have Jiro Luger in Jogja, Mukti, and we also have Komtung TV.
Yeah. And not only that, last year you launched also Lucu
Yeah, our membership platform.
That really changed the game in Indonesia. Like I like now Comika is changing to your business model pretty much.
Yeah, well, we look up to them as well. We try to copy their business model on digital download first at 2021, I guess. I forget. Yeah, 2021 or 2020. We try to copy that, and then we see this is a good opportunity, but for us, it's not a really good business model for us to last and sustain. So we try to pivot them and try this membership platform, not OTT, it's a membership platform. So if you subscribe, you will get all the benefits like discounts for events and all the perks, stuff like that. Yeah.
Oh, so it's not just, for example, a Netflix or a Disney Plus. You get more in real life.
Yes. So you get special discount, you get photo session. So there's a stand-up comedian, they have this culture after they perform. After they perform, they will have a photo session with all the audience.
Yes, which is something that actually is not everywhere.
Yes.
I performed in, I don't want to brag, but in 4 different continents.
Yeah.
And actually the first time that I really saw it was with Choki.
Yeah.
I opened for Choki in Bali.
In Bali, yeah.
And like Choki is a war machine. Like
he's a monster.
Yeah, like we were like 5, 6 openers. So just even the openers was more than 1 hour.
Yeah.
And then Choki went for 2 hours straight.
2 hours, yeah.
And after that, I was so shocked because he's a superstar.
Yeah.
And I was like, no. Everyone who wants to take a picture, I'll stay here with my openers. And it took us 2 more hours just to go through the pictures.
That's the problem. Well, stand-up comedians in Indonesia, they used to have like 100 and 150 audience, I guess, and then it grows to 300. Now it's like 700, 3,000. It's impossible.
Yeah, exactly.
Right? To do that. So that's why we create this platform also to give them benefits. So just a group of people who are subscribers of Lucu Flix can do the photo session and stuff like that.
Makes sense, because it's not even being having the star complex, is that you don't have time.
Yeah.
Because especially Chucky sold out the venue that we had in Bali.
700.
But if there was a bigger venue, it would have sold out also that venue.
Yeah, in Jakarta it's 3,100.
Wow, and exactly. Imagine
It will
having
take
to wait.
2 to 3 hours just to do the photo session after the show. It's like crazy.
And a show, people, it takes so much energy out of you, and it's not just the physical energy. Like you're mentally drained after an hour of stand-up. So I remember after Chucky, like my legs started to hurt. I was like, damn, when is this gonna finish?
Yeah.
But yeah, it was. And you also, so you have, of course, Lucu Flix, which you're pumping content, with so much content, which is great.
Yes, we have series, we have regular series, and we have special shows.
And then exactly, you have special show. For example, you had the MLE All Star.
Yeah, MLE All Star. We work with Comika as well, so there are some of their contents too in our platform.
This is what I don't really like about Indonesia.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a good thing, but I love drama.
Yeah.
Everyone just loves each other and is so respectful of each other. Like, for example, like this is what I want. I'm gonna ask him after you. We're going to interview also Lutfi, which is the CEO of Comika.
Yeah.
I want you to do some trash talk.
Yeah.
So talk some shit. Tell me something that I say, hey, you know, Patrick said this about you. So tell me something bad about Comika or about him.
Well, we need the content. I know they need the money. So.
Oh, okay.
Really, right? It's a form of collaboration. It's not. We respect each other, of course, but the industry is not there yet for us to have a competition, because the cake is very small here, so we need each other. We need to hold hands to grow this. If you want to make the business bigger, to scale up, then we need each other.
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah, because
right now the big players is you, Comika, and Ha Ha Ha.
Yeah,
but they do more movies.
They do more movies. They're like Imaginary. The name is Imaginary now.
Yeah.
I think they're huge, and they're doing very, very, very great, because they're the only one who's doing that in the comedy side of business.
Yeah.
But they're now competing with the production company. So their game is a bit different. Yeah, but they're big, they're huge.
Yeah. Actually, because also even their big show, their 10 years anniversary show, which was I also open with that. Yeah. It's now on Comika.
Yeah.
So you guys always keep on intertwined with each other.
Well, it's not.
For example, I saw from your poster when you launched Lucu Flix, there was also Panji, which did some content for you guys.
Yeah. We need each other, I think. I guess. Yeah.
For now, and then the war will start.
but it's different for me. I see Lucu Flix as a shop.
Okay, interesting.
Yeah, it's just like a music store. It's just like maybe like a music store, like we used to have CDs, right?
Yep.
It's a store, so you cannot just have Sony Music catalogs only, right? You need to have all the catalogs to sell. That's where the business is.
And talking, actually, this is the perfect segue.
Yeah.
Talking about music, music is your first love, actually, right?
Yeah,
it's not comedy.
Yes. Until now, it's music.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And till now, you're involved in music. You're a music producer. You're a songwriter.
Yeah.
You created boy bands.
Yes. I was actually a bit. It's a trap. So when MTech came, one of their requests is actually for me to run the company, and my production house is doing okay, and I think I can manage to not run the company, the production company. It's still running well now. So yeah, let me try to run this company, and then COVID came. COVID came. So 2020 January, I ran the company, and then March it's a lockdown, right?
Oh,
Yeah.
damn.
So until now,
And so how do you divide your time between music and comedy? And what do you prefer?
music. For me, it's
Not
music.
even thinking.
No,
just
music. Just music. Yeah, because my first job, my first career path is actually a music video director.
Mm-hmm.
Before that, I'm in a band, and I'm still in a band now. I love music. Every day, my life is about music. So, and music is just music, no drama, right? And then you don't need to think about. It's amazing how you see how I see stand-up comedians. They write all these jokes, but they can only use it for like what, 1 year.
Yeah.
But music, like you have like 10 years.
Yeah, they ask you like if you have a famous song and you don't play it, people are like, "What are you doing?"
Yeah, we can still the hit songs from what, like the 50s, 60s now. You can hear songs from Italy. You can hear songs from the UK, US. Doesn't matter. It's just music. It's a universal language.
There's actually one of the biggest Italian pop star in the 80s, 90s, who made a song in gibberish English. He didn't know English.
Yeah.
He just made it sound like English because it was like, it doesn't even matter the rhyme. If it sounds good, people will listen.
Yeah, yeah.
And it works. And this is also, but this, what you said is also why comedians are all jealous of musicians.
Are they?
Yeah, because musicians, you can get much broader audience.
Yeah.
Filling up a stadium for a comedian is the top 0.1%.
Yeah, yeah.
And
that's
also
true.
and also the fact that the comedian has to constantly come up with
Yeah.
new
Yes.
jokes. Like
Yes.
there's no one hit wonder in comedy where you just keep on touring for 20 years doing
Yeah.
the same set.
Yeah.
And also musicians get more pussy, which is also another thing that I think is important to.
Maybe they're open about it because stand-up comedians, they're usually introverts, right? So
Yeah, exactly. And this
they don't
is,
share. They don't share.
and this is the misconception also that people have, and this is why sometimes it's difficult to be a stand-up comedian
Yeah.
because people expect you to be on all the time and
Yes.
funny all the time.
Yes.
But I know many comedians who are
Yes.
super reserved. Like
No,
Raditya
they're not.
Dika in
Yeah.
his life is reserved, as it should be.
Yeah.
Because I don't know, it's weird. Making people laugh is your job, so
Yeah.
it becomes almost like a chore sometimes. You
Yeah.
know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's weird. But and what do you think is like? Because you brought up a lot of stars, both in music and in comedy. Like, do you see similarities? Because now you have an eye for it. You see,
Yeah.
okay, this guy can go far either in comedy or
Yeah.
in music. What is you look for?
Uh,
Like, what is the wow factor?
I don't know. It's different every time. Like in music, I always make groups.
Okay.
Yeah.
Boy bands.
Yeah.
Also.
Boy bands.
Did you want to be in a boy band when you were younger?
No.
No. Okay.
My basic music is rock actually.
Mm.
Yeah, but it's pop. I mean, when you go to the industry, and then it works. I have a rock band as well.
I am the weirdest guy. I never listen to music. I'm the only person I know that I don't really mind music.
Really?
Yeah. Like I listen people like, oh, music in my life every
Yeah,
day. I'm
yeah,
like,
yeah.
I don't even know last time I heard the song. It's weird. But yeah, you were saying that is always different.
It's always different. Yeah. With stand-up comedians also it's different. Their deliveries, their persona, I guess, their energy. I mean, I used to look at that when I saw a performance of.
But I guess that now in a way, you don't even need to guess because there's social media. So if you see that they have a big following and a big engagement, you already know that they're gonna work. No.
No, I still believe in skills.
Okay.
Yeah. So competition is good. Off air stage is good. I prefer that.
Okay. So you're an old school guy.
Old school guy.
Nice. And so you pretty much do everything. You are obviously, we said, in music.
Yeah.
Comedy. Also, you produced a few movies, right?
Yeah. I produce and direct.
Wow!
Yeah.
You do everything.
Because my first career path is a director, a music video director.
And then of course you transitioned.
TV commercial directors. That's why I own a production house company. We do animation, we do VR and stuff.
Oh wow!
Yeah, serious stuff.
and so what is the next big project, like the Year of the Dragon? What is gonna bring to your life?
I create a new company
because you were not busy enough.
No, I have a good team and partners. That's the thing, and we try to produce what do you call it? A community platform.
Okay.
So basically, it's a platform to gather all the community and do same stuff, so we can sell something there. So it's like community e-commerce. Yeah. So you can use it for everything. You can use it for music. You can use it for comedy. You can use it for, I don't know, watches, like sports, anything.
Nice.
Yeah.
And before we always have a segment where we read the news and we comment on that. But before that, I want to
Okay.
I want to ask you a question, which is a personal about me, not about your personal life question. Because the way I see Indonesia is, Indonesia obviously the market has huge potential.
Yeah.
And as you said, when you were talking about the synergy between you and Hahaha and Comika, right now you need to get because you need to grow the market.
Yeah.
You need to bring it there. From my point of view, being pretty much the only comedian in this country that just perform in English.
Yeah.
There's a few comedians that do both,
Yeah.
like MUSIK, like Liguina Nanto.
Yeah.
But I'm the only one that performed in English. What do you think about the future of English as a language in the entertainment industry in Indonesia? Because Malaysia is so much far ahead from that point of view. And that's why they already have big superstars like Ronnie Chang, Uncle Roger, Nigel Ang.
Yeah.
But Indonesia is a little bit better. Well, now I guess Panji is trailblazing.
Yeah.
But what do you think? Do you think it's going to grow? Do you think it doesn't have a...
It will grow. It will grow, definitely, for sure. You just need the right market. I think the problem now is no one is actually doing that. No one is actually focusing on the business side of the comedy. Some of maybe, I don't know, Batavia Jokers and stuff like that, they try to do, MUSIK as well. But the market is there. The problem with Malaysia is they know the market, and Malaysia is smaller, right?
Yeah.
And for me, the first time I saw the scene of the stand-up comedy, I saw it like a music festival where the rock band, the jazz band, the funk and soul band, they're all performing after each other. So it's not divided by genre, right?
Okay.
So if you are a guy, if you are an audience, and then you love pop, and then you see someone doing a rock set and metalcore or deathcore, and you don't like it, that's the nature, right? Like, I mean, you don't know what you're expecting. That's what happened in Indonesia for me.
It makes a lot of sense.
Yeah. So I think you need to understand, like, you're funny. You're so funny, but if the audience doesn't even understand English, so what's the purpose, right? So,
yeah, because it makes sense, because right now it's just comedy and it encompasses everything.
Yeah.
But there are many different facets, like with pop and jazz and
metal. Yeah. If you go to Kemang area here in Jakarta, and then you do stand-up comedians, I think everyone will get you.
I actually, that's why I just started a room in Kemang to do comedy.
See, yeah, and then you get to know your audience. The success of MLE is actually the community building as well. So, for example, Dono in Surabaya. Surabaya, if you do any events, it's tough. It's super tough. Mostly, it's not selling out, and then Dono have this dream to perform in a place called Pemuda Surabaya, Balai Pemuda Surabaya. It was 700, and it was tough. And the price is different. I think you get it by now that Jakarta and different cities, the salary and stuff are way different, right? And because before Dono performed his special show, we already have like, I forgot, I think it was like almost 8,000 or 10,000 database of Surabaya and surroundings. All the database, all the people who love Dono and willing to spend money to see a performance. And well, because of that, it made us easy to get 700 tickets sold for Balai Pemuda for Dono,
which is huge.
Yeah, that's right. But the work hard comes on collecting
course,
this 10,000
of course.
database. Yeah, it was like what 3-4 years of time.
Well, and that's why you guys are so successful, I guess, because sometimes people only focus on the creative side.
Yeah.
Which of course is important because
Yeah.
it's a creative bit, but you need to look at how to grow the business.
Yeah.
And at the end of the day, comedy, just like music, is a business. So you need to know about business too,
Yeah.
in order to grow it.
Yes. And you need to partner up.
Yes.
I mean, like you have to have all the pillars. Like you need the guy who know how to run the business, what was the vision and the mission, the plan and everything, and you need the financial guy, you need the marketing guy and everything.
That's how I got a little bit burned out in Bali.
Yeah.
Because in Bali I was
A single fighter.
Yeah, and not only I was organized at one point.
Yeah.
5 shows a week.
Yeah, you organize it. You.
I was teaching comedy.
Yeah.
Because I was making sure that my comedians had good sets. So I
Yes.
would review, give feedback, then I would host, I would headline.
Yeah.
And I was like, that's too much. I need to focus on my career.
And it's frustrating, right?
Oh yes.
Yeah,
yes.
of course.
And also like you must be a saint because managing artists is not easy,
Yeah.
because of course everyone has a big ego and
Yeah.
it's like children. It's like managing a kindergarten.
My biggest weakness is actually managing talent. It's not my thing.
So you leave it to your.
Yeah, Adri is the one.
Okay.
Adri is
So he's the
have
saint.
more, yeah, he have more patience. He talks to everyone. He listens to everyone. Me, no, just this is we're going this way. Then we're going this way. It's straight.
There's a quote from Vin Diesel in the movie, in one of his movie where the Riddick. Then it was like,
Riddick.
there's only one speed, my speed. And that's how you go. But yeah, let's read the news. Oh yes.
Yeah.
So Agagla, the movie from from
Imaginary. Yeah.
yes. Oh, they changed the name. Sorry.
No. Imaginary is actually the production company,
Ah,
and Haha is the talent management.
Okay.
I
Gotcha.
forgot. Wait, Boris. Who is it? Boris Jagel, Oki, and who's the other guy? Oh, Benedion.
Yes.
Ben is actually the only one from Haha.
Yes.
Yeah.
And Ha now has only 12 talent. There's
I don't
Cristo.
know.
There's
Yeah.
Gay.
Yeah, I forgot. Cristo, Ari Kriting.
Yes.
Yeah.
There's a few. Sole.
Yeah, Soleh. Yeah.
But yeah, so this movie is super. So
Amazing.
In the first 4 days, 1 million
Yes.
people. But now I think
3 days, 1 million. Now I guess
that
it's
are more than 4 million. Yeah.
4 point something.
Why do you think this movie got such a big hit?
First of all, is I have to shout out my big respect to Ernest and his team. Yeah? They learn a lot in movie industry, so they know how to make a good film. They know how to produce a good story. That's the thing. And Lain, the podcast itself, their community is huge.
Yep.
And they're Batak, right?
Yeah.
I have this experience as an audience with Ernest's first movie. First movie or Cek Toko Sebelah. I think it's second movie. Sorry, Cek Toko Sebelah. Cek Toko Sebelah. My mom never watched any movie. She never went to a cinema, but she asked me to go to cinema with her just to see Ernest's movie, because the movie is about Chinese ethnics in Indonesia. And also this, like I saw all the audiences, Batak, one Batak person with their friends, or one Batak person with their families and stuff. They're huge here. Yeah. So yeah.
So it's about connecting to a specific
Yeah.
audience. And
That's from the business side, I guess. Yeah, but the movie is so light. The movie is like you're having fun and you're laughing, like just in the table like this with your friends. And it's also a drama. It's good. Oki Renga was. I have to give him like 11 out of 10. Man, is.
I have to wait that it comes on digital download or online because I need the subtitles.
The subtitles, yeah. I think it's gonna be on OTT.
Yeah.
It have to be.
But it became an instant classic. I don't even think they expected this much success.
Maybe. But it's good. It's a good timing. It's super.
So my next question is, when are we gonna have a Emily movie?
Well, I don't know. It's different. I think Adri can answer that question because it's not my part. First, and then the second one is the chemistry. It's different. Agak Lain, the four of them, the chemistry.
Because they've been together for so long.
Yeah,
doing
now
their podcast.
it's the best. Like if you're looking at it, Muslim Choki have the best chemistry for both of them. But I don't know. They're doing their own thing.
Yes.
Yeah. Outside, they're doing their own thing. Yeah. So it's I don't know. Yeah. Maybe we'll see. We have a lot of conversation about that, but not as big as Agak Lain, more niche because we start from the community, our community, right?
Yeah.
But I don't know. Maybe someday we will do that.
If you need a very small part of
Bule.
of a Bule, like, I don't know, maybe the boss of the company or the asshole, like the bad guy. I'm even for free. I'm
Yeah.
With that said, thank you so much. It's always interesting to pick your brain because you know so much about the
really.
industry, and you're obviously a very smart man. So thank you so much for being here.
Thank you, Chris.
As always, as the kids say, smash that like button. Please subscribe and write us in the comment as always, because this is a new podcast. I'm still learning. So tell us what can we do to improve, and who do you want to see next on the podcast? This was Bule Go Blog. Patrick, see you next time.